Right, and we're live.
All right. Bob Fleischer, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ted, can you do the four-way pack?
Four-way pack, the way you interact with others. Personal accountability with courage and truth. First,
I will have the courage to tell the whole truth. I will be kind in the way I tell it. I will be fair and not seek selfish advantage. I will have an open heart and an open mind.
Jack, can you lead us in the invocation?
Think about our heads. Dear God, we give thanks for this day and give thanks for the guests that are with us. We ask a blessing on the Rotarians here and around the world and the projects that they're involved with. Bless this food and this meeting to our use. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, please be seated. All right, let's introduce our guests. Let's introduce our guests. Let's start with Bill Kelly.
Dale Bandit with Securitas, which has been in business for 1934 in the home commercial security business, and she came across our club through our efforts at the Sept front.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Gail, there you go. Welcome.
Gene,
And I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker, Kelly Stone with Rising Point Solutions.
Bill Lambert, can you introduce your guest?
Or consider diet.
He's in contracting.
Welcome.
All right.
I wasn't saying your name.
Oh, okay. I got cards.
Any club announcements? I'll start on October 1st. We have our roadside cleanup. And you can sign up on our website if you wish. If not, you can email Brian Townsend. So he has somewhat of a count of who will be there.
Couple of quick things. You can turn in your tickets every week up until the week we do the drawing. Right here in the box, it's right around where you enter. You can do it. You don't have to hand it to me if you don't see me. And then just real quick, the installation a few months ago, I did a bunch of thank yous to everybody that helped me when I was president last year. And I mentioned her name, but I really didn't give her as much accolades as she deserved. Gail Vandenbach, she as I rewind the game film in my head, which is what I tend to do, I really neglected talking about how much Gail means to the club. I had the honor of interviewing her for the Rotarian of the Year video that I had put together. And then about a month later, I volunteered to enter in the drawing tickets into Excel. And that's when I really understood how much Gail did for the club when I started doing that. So thank you for the many years of doing that. Thank you for your service last year. And so glad to have you back here today. Thanks.
Happy first Friday of fall, everybody. I am, short is hard. So can you hear me? So anyway, from the Community Service Committee, we're pretty active, have a lot going on this fall. I want to let you know that on October 14th at 8:30 a.m., there will be a check presentation to District 54 for the food that we contribute to for breakfasts or lunch for the junior high school students. District 54 decided to focus on Keller Junior High this year. So we're asking Brian, Rachel, and I will be there to present the check. Jeff Miller's company is creating the nice, cool, big check to present. But we would like to have fellow Rotarians there with us to be there for the presentation. So if you can work it into your schedule at Keller Junior High School, 8:30 a.m., October 14th. We'll repeat this next week and in the coming weeks so you remember. Also wanted to let you know that on October 22nd, Bruce has told us about the Delmark. Oh, we're not doing it? Scratch that. Never mind. Okay, moving right along. Okay, I had a great conversation with a company called PCs for People yesterday. And it is a 503c company that works very hard to get computers and monitors into the hands of those who cannot afford them. And so they work with companies, schools to give used computers to them. They refurbish them, and then they have distribution days to low-income folks. They give computers, they have monitors, and they also have low-price internet access at $15 a month for individuals. The Community Service Committee would like to take on this project to organize a day where we would work with our community partners to bring out individuals from like Kenneth Young, Wings, you name it, who might want or need computers and meet the criteria. We are looking for somebody who's willing to run point on this project. The community service folks right now are really tapped with the partnerships that we have now, all the activities going on. So if anybody is interested in leading this, please let me know. We would appreciate your help.
Jean and I.
Really? Oh, she just pointed at me. Didn't she? Hey, me and Linda, you're the best. You're the best. Thank you. I will be in touch with you. And then lastly, the Children's Advocacy Center. Eileen and I met with the Children's Advocacy Center a couple of weeks ago, and we're looking for volunteer opportunities to support their work. And they recently let us know that they are getting new furniture throughout their building in Hoffman Estates, right by that butterfly garden. And they need some help moving furniture so that they can get the carpet installed. So I will send it around electronically so people can sign up. But it's November 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's a 3 to 7 slot for people to sign up to help them. And I'll also let Anastasia know if any of our service members can help with that project. So Rachel.
On the website for the volunteers.
That would be lovely.
It's not, which one?
This is very new.
Yeah, send it to me and it'll be up by the end of the day.
Roger that. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
The Fellowship Committee is pleased to announce that the Immersive Monet event is filled. So if I'll have a wait list, and if you'd like to go, let me know. Otherwise, have a nice day. And don't be confused by the next. Just letting you know, it's
Thank you. Good morning. We are all so fortunate. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. That the fellowship group has chosen October to have 2 fellowships. 2. This is the first time we've ever done this. Why did we do that? Because we all have different interests. Maybe you don't want to see the Monet. Maybe you want to go to Richardson's farm for a corn maze and all activities that they have there. They both end in October. So we have to have it at the same time, basically. But we're having this on the 15th, which is Saturday of October. And how many of you have ever been to the Richardson's farm? A couple. Richardson's farmhouse, it's an amazing place. It's about an hour north of here. And it is a humongous 20 acres of one maze that they have made. It's a 10-mile area that you have this maze to go in. And what is this maze about? You probably never, if you happen to see it in the newspaper, they showed you a picture of what the maze looks like. It's a James Bond theme. And what you will see are 6 of the people who played James Bond. Their portraits are made out in the farm cornfield that looks like them. Each one of the 6 people who played James Bond. At any rate, it has a short trail in there too that is called left turn only, and it's about 10 minutes. The other one will take you about an hour and a half. It is wild but fun. This is only one thing that you can do there. This place has any activity you could possibly want, and this will be a family affair as well. So if you want to bring your children, grandchildren, whatever, that would be great. They will thoroughly enjoy it. Any activity that they would want, it's there, believe me. The entrance fee is for the corn maze and all of the whole bunch of the activities that they have there that you can do for free, $24. Question?
Now, I'm just gonna say comment for all the Rotarians. I'm quite sure they probably want to get on that zip line you got out there. And go for a ride.
Yes, there is a zip line. There are
You know,
several.
he is an Antioch Rotarian also.
Okay, okay. There are just so many activities you do. If you are interested, we would like you to sign up on our Fall Fest list. We want a campfire, which we can have solely for our group only. And we need to have a head count today, if possible, approximately, so that I can make sure that we have our own campfire for 4 hours. We can do whatever we want there at the campfire. They bring the wood, they have the fireplace, they have the picnic tables. We can go out and purchase food at their place. We can bring it in our yeah. We can bring in our own food. We can bring in chairs, whatever. They're very open to a whole lot of things, but that place is filled with activities to do. So please see me or one of us afterwards as well.
What time's on it? On the 15th, Saturday the 15th?
You can go anytime. They're open in the morning from like 11 o'clock until about 11 o'clock at night. You can go. The time that we have the set time for the campsite is from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock. 4 hours is what we get. And that is ours only. We can come and go as we want and go to different activities, etc. But, you know, plan to be back there because we'll have s'mores for you. Those are always a hit. If you have any further question, I will send that around to everybody to sign up and come look at all the different things and activities that are available. There's like 50 different things. I'm not kidding. Thank you.
Now, for anyone who's more adventuresome and wants to travel the world, Istanbul, Paris, Rome, Guatemala, Bolivia, Peru, we're having a Zoom Rotary Friendship Exchange, just called this Wednesday, September 28th at 7 p.m. You can, I know they have the ID number, the password of the district. You can contact me, but if you have any interest whatsoever, I'll get you the sign and information to get on the Zoom call. Kind of an orientation of what a friendship exchange is. So you just immerse yourself in the culture. We visit one country, the Rotarians come back here, just like we did in Taiwan. That was a wonderful experience 6 years ago. So encourage anyone who has any interest whatsoever, be a great time to understand what it's all about. So thank you.
All right, who's happy? Anybody happy? Nobody's happy? Gene, are you happy today? How about Vince? Let's go with Vince.
I've got a couple of dollars last Wednesday, December 21st, was my 54th wedding anniversary. Barbara and I celebrated that day.
Can you collect, please? Can you collect? Anybody else happy? happy.
That's two happy dollars because I'm a big fan of fall Halloween. And then I have two happy dollars because it was my wife's 22nd wedding anniversary, September 9th. Yeah. And then, of course, two happy dollars for my daughter. She has decided that she wants to start a band. And she's picked out some songs and she's working on some stuff with school rock and things like that. So I'll save Alan for next week.
No.
I'm happy because I knew.
All right.
Bruce.
I'm $20 happy because it's my birthday this week. I'm happy to have Dale here, and I'm happy that Bill is happy. And I'm happy that the immersive Monet event has worked out and go forward, and I'm really grateful to all the people who have been participating.
Oh, no.
I am happy that I have an opportunity right now to lead into the financing. We have a tradition in this club that whoever's name appears in the newspaper or the media, that they get significantly fined. And I saw last night a Rotarian in our club who was on television. And my impression is that she is going to be on television quite often over the next 45 days. That's going to enrich our club with wonderful finds.
So you're ratting her out?
I was trying to think how I could rat out this Rotarian by doing it diplomatically and letting our fine manager know that she was on a Raja commercial. Holly fast you.
All right, let's see if we can find the Queen of Hearts. All right, who feels lucky?
Not Nancy. Come on, Nancy, redemption. Oh, all right, I gotta take it up here. 27. Nine of spades. It continues.
Now's the time for our illustrious fine master, George. Aren't you our fine master today?
Uh-oh.
All right. Okay, so for our guests, I'm the fine master. All right, for our guests, I'm the fine master, which means I have to raise a little bit of money. We try to do it in a fun way.
and then we give it to the community. So it's all good. So I need a few, let's see, this is a bad room to collect in. A few volunteers. Vince will collect. Bill? Bill? Who else? Anyone? Maybe one more? Okay, sure. Jim. I was going for somebody else, but Jim, you got it. All right, cool. That should be enough, right? $5 maximum fines today, $1 each. So this is what you guys remember Carmack the Magnificent?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I am Carmack's cousin. So this is what we're doing. In these 5 envelopes, which are hermetically sealed, are 5 questions. I will tell you telepathically what the answers are, and then I need one person to volunteer and go against me and see if they can get the question right. If they get it right, no one pays a fine. If they get it wrong, everybody pays $1. Okay? Oh, and let me say something else. Bill Kelly's a narc. You pay $5 right now. Where is it? There you go. That's the narc fine. I'm not fining Holly for being on TV. All right. So we got the rules. We get it? We get it. Okay. Envelope number 1. Sprinkle, sway, splits.
One more time.
Sprinkle, sway, splits. All right, who's going to go against me? Who's going? Come on, somebody, otherwise I pick. No one? No one wants to volunteer? Okay, Linda, go for it.
Elmer Fudd, reading those words.
Let me see. Let me see. Everybody pay $1. I already know that's wrong.
Aw.
The question is, can you name 3 settings on Mike Tyson's garden hose? All right. Okay. It was meant to be funny, and most of you are laughing. Good. Okay. All right. Envelope number 2. Ben Gay. Flatulence. Alcohol breath.
Ew.
Anyone?
One more time.
Pretty sure that's Alan Gay.
That's close, but everybody pay $1. The question is, can you name 3 things that you smell at every Rotary meeting? So you were close. Good. Laughter. This is good. Okay, envelope number 3. A Chicago team winning a championship. Gary,
What is that? No chance in hell?
let's see. It's kind of close. Let's see if that will be a winner. I'll let you guys vote. Can you name something that we will never see again? That's a winner. All right. Okay, envelope number 4. Huh. I forgot I did this one. Okay. Dolly Parton's boobs. Okay, who's going? Who's going? Come on.
Say it one more time.
Dolly Parton's boobs.
I think you should say.
This is a family. No one's volunteering. Come on, they said worse things than this on the Tonight Show. I'm gonna go with Pat Grunwald. Go ahead, Pat.
What will smother you?
Very humorous. I like that, but that's incorrect. Everybody pays $1. But the answer is, can you name something sinking faster than the stock market? A lot of Dolly Parton fans in here. Wow. How about Pamela Anderson? Would that have been better? All right. I hold in my hand the final envelope. Okay. Answer the phone, text, leave a message. Answer the phone, text, leave a message.
Called you. Who is Wes Cross?
And there's no one. I gotta use smaller envelopes next time because this is kind of a. Come on. All right. Can you name 3 things Jim and Bonnie cannot do with their new iPhones? And the answer was answer the phone. Text. Leave a message. Okay. Thank you.
All right, to bring lunch out.
Right? I'll step around.
You already hear, so anything. And of course, we would. Right, who's here over here?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, right.
So when you were digging the road.
Then that's when they stop. They keep going. Work harder. But I already started this.
It's a lonely life at the top.
Yes, it is.
I work very hard
Earlier today.
Okay, pipe down, everybody. We got our speaker coming up. Kelly Stone with Rising Point Solutions. She's gonna talk to everybody a little bit about credit.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Stone. I'm with Rising Point Solutions, and I like to make sure that I'm answering any questions. So if you guys have questions along the way, just feel free to stop me. But who has ever paid off an account and seen their credit score drop? Quite a few people have, and there's a lot of misconceptions that happen with credit. So I want to kind of go over the basics. I am going to skip over some slides here just to kind of touch on the main points. But if there's anything, again, that you guys have questions on, I want to make sure that I'm answering and educating. So the purpose of the credit bureaus, they actually started in the 1800s. And the 3 credit bureaus have come along because across the way, creditors were finding out that people weren't paying their bills. And it really was causing issues because the creditors were going out of business. And then the people who weren't paying their bills, they would get jail time. They would even get hung for their offenses. So it was something that they had to create a system for. It is a significant penalty. I mean, there's some countries that if you steal, you get your hand cut off. Nobody's stealing there. But this was a way to help check in on people and let lenders know, do I want to lend money to this person? So the 3 credit bureaus actually grew in America as the railroads came into play because people were trying to run away from their bad debt and they were able to go further. So there had to be a system in order to make sure that people couldn't just run away and not pay their bills. This was a way to track them, okay? So the function of the 3 credit bureaus is literally to collect and store information about how you make payments. And this was a way to assess and make sure that if I wanted to lend you money, will you pay me back? So that's why paying your credit accounts on time is the biggest thing that you can do to help with your credit score. So a lot of consumers believe that the credit scores are from the credit bureaus. That actually didn't start out that way. Yes, you can get scores from the credit bureaus now, but they're not necessarily the same scores that a lender would hold. So the scoring formula started out in the 1950s by Bill Fair and Earl Isaac. So the FICO score, if you guys have heard of that, that was the first system to determine whether or not somebody could qualify. And what they did was they took the information from the 3 credit bureaus and they created a scoring system. So this then became the number system that we see today. Before that, creditors would have to go through sheets and sheets of paper to determine, do you pay this on time, do you pay that on time? And it was taking a lot longer. So they created this FICO score system. And since then, they have developed many different scoring systems to determine whether or not you qualify. And the reason why there's such a variety is because if you're trying to get a $300,000 house financed for 30 years, well, that's a much bigger risk than a $30,000 vehicle financed for 5 years. So they had to come up with different scoring formulas to change and assess different risk factors. So FICO versus FACO. How many people check their credit on Credit Karma? Usually quite a few. With Credit Karma, we jokingly call it the FACO score system because they're not using the FICO score model. They're using something called Vantage Score. And it's not what lenders use to pull credit. So when you go to a dealership or you go to your local bank or you go to your local mortgage company, they're going to use the FICO score system, and that is going to be very different than what you see on Credit Karma or the FACO score model. So that's the Vantage score system that was created more recently, but lenders have not used that to take that into play. There are specific scoring factors that go into your credit score. The biggest thing, 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. Making sure you pay things on time is the biggest thing that you can do to help increase the credit score. And then the second biggest factor is balances, but this is in regards to credit card balances only. The closer you get to maxing out your credit cards, it actually drops the credit score because the lenders say, hey, whoa, you haven't paid me back yet. We don't want you to be able to take out 5 different credit cards and max out those as well and then end up defaulting. So that does factor into your score. 15% of your credit score is based on the length of credit history. The longer you have accounts open, the more it helps you. So the first question that I asked, how many people see a drop in their credit score when they pay off an account? So if you don't have a lot of credit history, but you have, let's say, an auto loan that you just finished paying off, you're going to see a drop in the credit score because there's not enough credit history then moving forward to really assess you. So when you pay something off, while you may think, oh, this is great, I paid it off, you may see a drop in the credit score because they don't have anything to watch you on, to assess you on moving forward. 10% is also based on the different types of credit you use. So whether you have a credit card or an installment loan or a mortgage, they all have different risk factors, so they're gonna affect you differently. And then the final 10% is the number of inquiries. So when you pull your credit too many times, it does drop the credit score. Yes, sir.
When you're talking about credit cards and recent histories, how far back are you talking? 5 to 10, 10 to 15, range? I know you can't give the name.
Great question. Good credit can actually stay on your credit for up to 20 years, depending on how much credit you have. Usually it's on average 10 years. If the account is still open, obviously it's gonna stay on there for a lot longer. But if we're talking about negative credit can stay on the credit report for up to 7 years or 10 years if it was a judgment or a tax lien. Yes, sir.
Does income level on there? Or-
That's a great question. Income is not factored into your credit score at all. Your income does not factor in because it's not about how much you make, it's how you make payments. That's a great question. Anybody else?
So I pay my bills. I'm an old guy, but when I was young as you, I paid my bill all the time, always,
Okay.
on time. And you're saying to me, what I hear you saying is that that's not a good thing.
No. Paying on time is a great thing. When you pay off an account, if you don't have open credit still, that's where it could drop the credit score. And I'm not saying tremendously, but usually people see a dip about 20 points or so. But again, it's because you've just closed out an established line of history. So let's say you've been paying on your auto loan for 5-6 years, that history is now closed. So if you don't have other lines of credit to show that you can make payments on time moving forward, then you are gonna see a drop. Does that make more sense?
It makes sense. Sometimes I wonder, I worry about this reorg. There are 3 companies out there that watch your credit scores. And
It's
stuff
very
like that.
interesting. And they're not controlled by the government.
Right.
So they're not government entities. They are private companies. Yes, they have rules and regulations, but let's face it, a lot of companies, especially the bigger they are, they don't always abide by the rules and regulations.
I just want to know, I'm asking you for a friend of mine.
Yes.
I have great credit score. Just to set the record straight.
Does anybody have other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, I have like my student loan thing from Sally Mae. It has my FICO score listed on there.
Mhm.
I also get it, from the bank.
Okay.
Why is one of them significantly higher than the other?
So the one you get from the bank is probably a Vantage score. I had this debate with somebody recently, and Chase, I know they give out a Vantage score system. If you scroll down to the terms and conditions, you're gonna see that it says that it's a Vantage score model, and it's really just for educational purposes. It's not for lending purposes. In
Chase
fact,
was too low. I don't want to use
I don't blame you, but they all have different risk factors. So I'm actually going to move on just a little bit so that I can explain a little bit further. Mortgage scores are going to be much more critical. Why? We're borrowing a lot more money for a lot longer time. Plus, their scoring system is actually very old. They use 2, 4, and 5 FICO score models. FICO score has over 50 models depending on what you're looking at and what you're trying to assess. So the risk factors are very different. 2, 4, and 5 in those scoring systems, they were a lot more critical on collections and such. Moving forward, collections aren't going to be as great of an impact if they're medical collections. And actually, medical collections have changed, and I'll touch on that in a minute. We have FICO score 9, which is more common. FICO score 8 is what you're typically going to see online when you see we'll provide you with a free FICO score model. Or the Vantage score, they'll just say, we'll provide you with a free credit score. That's the little tricks that they use to try to get you to sign up with them. With Credit Karma, they do provide a free credit score, and that's great. But the reason why it's free, because we all know that nothing is free in life, it's because they're selling your information to different creditors to market to you guys. FICO score 10 is the newest model. This is something that we're seeing more and more common, but again, it's not for mortgage lending purposes and it's not for auto lending purposes. But the FICO score model is actually going to analyze your credit card balances more, especially over the last 2 years. They're going to see how close you were to maxing out and did you pay it off every month. Right now, with the way the system is, especially for mortgages, if you have maxed out credit cards and you need to get a 40 to 50 point score increase, you just pay off those credit cards and it's going to boost it right up. But if they switch to FICO score 10, you won't see that boost anymore because they're trying to determine whether you carry high balances or not. Are you a greater risk or not? Did that answer your question? Why the scores are different? Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. There's some misconceptions that come with credit scores. You had mentioned the income. Income is not factored in. Actually, it was Equifax that was the one who started this in the 1970s. They were a part of a huge scandal. They actually used to be called Retail Credit Company, RCC, and they had to rebrand and rename because they were sharing people's personal information, not just income, but they were including religious beliefs, if people were having affairs, if they were getting a divorce. There was a lot of information that they were sharing and people were getting denied because of it. So Equifax is really, they have been the center of a lot of scandals, especially over the last 10 years or so. They were the ones with the breach several years back. They actually were providing wrong scoring score models back in March to April. So anybody who was denied, that could have been because of Equifax. So a lot of people think that all credit scores are the same. Not all credit scores are the same because not all creditors report to all three credit bureaus. The credit bureaus are private entities and they do charge to report. So let's say Chase may report to all three, but ABC Credit Union may not want to report to all three because they're being charged for it. So that's why you're going to see the credit scores vary so much, especially if somebody has collections on their credit report. A lot of people think that paying off accounts will help to raise the credit score. That's what we talked about already. This really applies when it comes to collections. People think it's just checking a box. We all hear paid, we think positive, right? Well, when it comes to collections, if you pay off a collection, it's not going to automatically delete it from the credit report. Here's the change that happened though in July of this year. With the three credit bureaus, they have now changed that if you have a medical collection and you pay it off, it will automatically delete. That doesn't apply to cell phones. It doesn't apply to utility bills or charge off credit cards, but medical collections have now been deemed that it doesn't really accurately represent your payment history. So if somebody has medical collections, they shouldn't be hindered as much as somebody who defaults on their cell phone bills and their credit card bills. It's a different risk factor. So you can go through and pay off a medical collection and it will automatically delete and you will see your credit score increase again. When it comes to medical collections as well, the collectors have to collect for a full 12 months now. It used to be 6 months, and that was because the insurance companies, they would take their sweet time and then people would go through and see the collection hit the credit report. Well, now you have 12 months to fight it and go back and fight with your insurance company. Coming January of this next year, any medical collection under $500 will not report. So if somebody has a small copay, $80, $20, I've seen $13 medical collection hit the credit report, and it affects you just as much as a $1,300 medical collection, because again, it's all about history. So those small little copays will not hit the credit report anymore as of January this coming year. So that's going to be great for a lot of people. Inquiries is another big question that I have. A lot of people think that inquiries will hurt their credit score tremendously. You can check your credit report online. It's not going to hurt your credit at all, okay? You have the right to know what's on your credit report, and you have the right to check that history. So you can go online, and it's called a soft pull. If you go to a lender, Gene perhaps, and you want to have your mortgage score pulled, so you're trying to get pre-approved for a loan, he can pull your credit. It'll be about a 2 to 5 point hit to the credit report, but it's not going to be tremendous. And if 2 to 5 points makes or breaks you, then maybe getting a loan is not the right time. But people come to me all the time. I went auto loan shopping and it tanked my credit score, and that happens a lot. So you are allowed to shop around for an auto loan for 30 days, but here's the problem. When your dealership sends the information to different banks, then one bank may pull it as an auto loan. Well, great. Within that auto loan pull, you have 30 days to have your credit pulled so many times, but maybe ABC Bank decided to pull it as a note loan, and XYZ Bank pulled it as a line of credit. So those different pulls to the credit, that's what affects the credit score, and that's why you see those credit score drops. Okay, but you are allowed to shop around. My recommendation is to go to your local bank, get pre-approved first, and then you can go to the dealership and fight them from there. So that's the best recommendation if you go auto loan shopping. Let's get charge-offs. Online disputing. If anybody has negative information on the credit report and they think it's a good idea to dispute it online, the credit bureaus have made it easy for a reason. Who here checks the terms and conditions boxes and reads them all before they sign it? Anybody? Nobody reads it all? In those terms and conditions boxes, if you dispute anything online, you're agreeing to whatever they find, no matter the outcome. So even if something is truly not yours and you dispute it online, they could say it's frivolous and then you can't dispute it again. So online disputing is not the way to go. The best way is to either call them up, which could take hours, or write them certified letters. That's the best way. So if you have any errors on the credit report, make sure that you follow up immediately, but not online. Something else that I wanted to say that's not in the PowerPoint, how many people get those pre-approval letter offers in the mail all the time? I'm sure a lot of you guys do. There's a website called optoutprescreen.com. If you go there, you can opt out of those letters because the credit bureaus, what they're doing is they're selling your information to creditors, okay? That's one of the many ways that they make millions, billions of dollars each year. They're selling your information. So if you go to optoutprescreen.com, you can opt out of that. They can't sell your information anymore, and it's going to significantly reduce that junk mail. It takes about 30 days to really process, but after that, you should see a significant decline in that, okay? One more quick tip, and then I'm sure you guys are getting bored of me. Credit card utilization, like I said, is the fastest way to help raise the credit score. So if you keep your credit card balances down before you get a loan, 60 days prior is the optimal time. This way you have time for it to update and cycle. So when you make a payment, obviously, you know it's not instant. It's not going to reflect instantly. So the payment will go through, the creditor will update, and then the creditor updates to the bureaus. So within that time, if you give yourself 60 days to keep a credit card balance paid down, you're going to see the best credit score boost. Now, if you're able to, 1% versus the limit is going to be the best credit score increase that you can get to really utilize the points that are available to you. Yes. So if you're only using 1% of the limit, that's going to be the best. So pay it down as much as you can. As long as you're below 20%, that's really great. 50%, when you go over that, that's when it will start to take away points. The closer you get to your limit, the more it will take those points away from you. Okay. If you guys have questions about credit, yes.
Did you say optoutprescreen.com?
Yes, optoutprescreen.com. Is it not coming up?
No.
Really? I'll send out the link to
Invalid
Jane.
address.
I'll send out the link to Jane. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Could you explain that it's not just history when you close out a credit card, it's your overall credit worthiness or total amount?
When you close out credit cards, yes. So with credit bureaus, they take an aggregate total of all your limits and all your balances. So when you close out a credit card, you're not just closing and ending that history, you're also taking away that available line of credit. So you're reducing what's available to you. I never recommend closing out a credit card. If there's a credit card that you just don't want to keep anymore, stop using it. And after a year or two, they will just close it automatically. And at that point, it started to help you less and less. So it's going to hurt you less when it closes. If you have an annual fee on a credit card, that's really the only time that I tell people, you know what, that makes sense for you to close it out. You don't want to pay $100, $200 a year for a card you don't use. I understand. Just know that it will take an initial hit. Yes, sir.
What happens like with an American Express card if you don't have a credit limit? It's not on the credit score.
They'll go off of the highest balance that you've used in the past. Yes. Yes, sir.
Obviously, annual credit report.com gives you the ability to pull credit report. It used to be one report every 12 months. It's been reduced to every month you can pull them. That is supposed to expire at the end of this year. Have you heard anything about an extension of that?
No, not at this point. They allowed people to check their credit. So what he's saying is annualcreditreport.com, you were able to check your credit every year for free. Now you don't get scores with that, but you're able to check to see what's on there. Well, when the shutdown happened, they allowed everybody to check their credit reports at least once a month for free. and you could see what was going on with your credit. That is set to expire. Obviously, they were trying to make money, but either way, if you're trying to get a credit score from them, depending on what you're trying to do, I usually tell people myfico.com is the best one because that's run by the Fair Isaac Corporation and they give you multiple FICO score models. But you are having to pay for the scores anyway. This is just a way to check your credit to see what's on there. And they do not have, they are not extending it as far as I'm aware. Yes, sir.
Did I hear you say, well, I heard you say that if you pay off your credit card balances every month in full and you never carry a balance, that's not good?
No, I didn't say that. You can do that. If you have a lot of credit established, that's perfectly fine. When people are brand new and just opening up that line of credit, I say leave about $5 on there because it's not really going to generate that much interest. It's really just to show that balance is active on the credit report.
So Kelly, in instances where you found that there's mistakes assigned to you, somebody else's judgment, somebody else's late bills, possibly identity theft or something, and you send the information to the credit reporting agency by certified mail, and they still had your credit rating significantly depressed, what recourse do you have?
Keep fighting them. So what happens with the 3 credit bureaus, if you try to fight them initially, they're going to try to like dust you off, just push you to the side. No, we saw your dispute. We think this is frivolous. We're not gonna really answer it. The more they do that, the more people go, oh, okay, fine. A lot of people give up. Don't give up. And if you need extra help, that's what we're here as Rising Point Solutions. That's what we help with specifically. But if you're doing it on your own, just don't stop fighting because they want you to give up.
My recollection, I may be completely wrong here, but they have somewhat limited liability, don't they? Or can you get damages from them?
Absolutely.
You can.
Actually, I think it was 2017, maybe 2016, a woman had sued, I want to say it was TransUnion, if I remember correctly, and she won the biggest settlement ever. And it was because her information was tied to somebody else in her town that had horrible credit, and she wasn't able to co-sign for her son for college loans. And so I think she was awarded like 8-point-something million.
Holy cow.
And of course, the bureaus are fighting that. I'm sure she's still in court over it. But yes, you can get damages. And the bureaus, they'll usually just try to settle with you outside of court because it's cheaper for them to do that, settle and keep you to the side, as opposed to go through and make changes that they need to make across their systems.
So who regulates these credit bureaus?
They're regulated under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but a lot of the times they get away with things that they shouldn't. Let's face it. They really do. Yes.
So if you have a credit card or multiple cards,
Mhm.
and usually on the side it says, check your credit rating. Is that FICO or FACO? And are you, if you're checking them once a month, is that hurting you?
It will not hurt the credit. Okay, so checking your credit online, as long as you're not pulling credit to apply for a line of credit, it will not hurt your credit score. But those scores, I can't tell you what that is. It'll say it on the website. Usually if you scroll down, you'll find that little asterisk and it'll tell you specifically what it is.
And FICO's better.
FICO is more accurate. That's what lenders use. You were next. Yes, sir.
Years ago, I used to correct credit, but I found that identity theft protection. So I would go in and mitigate. And so I had to work with the credit bureaus until they jacked their fees up at about 14 and excluded all those little guys.
Yeah.
Until then, I can't remember out of all of the credit reports that I saw, how many were actually correct. How many would you say as a percentage of the reports that you see, and you see a whole bunch? What percentage are actually correct and what percentage have errors? Because I think that's important for this group to know, because that's
I don't have
why
the
they
number.
might need to use you in all honesty.
I don't have the number of percentage that's correct.
Ballpark.
It's really hard to say because everybody's different. People will say to me that it's incorrect. So almost everybody that I speak to, they'll say, oh no, that's not correct. But define correct, right? They'll say, well, I didn't pay this late. Okay, great. Show me a bank statement. We'll fight them. That's easy. And then they'll go through and they'll look at it and they're like, oh, well, maybe it was a little later than I thought. When push comes to shove and we ask for documentation, a lot of the times it's a little more accurate than what they remember. But there's still other ways to fight them. Still, there are companies that will go through and submit that somebody was late, even though they weren't a full 30 days late yet. I mean, I've been seeing credit reports lately that are showing that they're past due this month. Well, this month isn't over. How are you 30 days past due yet? So I'll see that a lot. And I can't really, I've never really counted a percentage. I've been doing this for 11 years. I don't look at it like that.
They're not real accurate, that's my point.
Yeah.
And I
You're
think
right, they
you
are.
May not understand that.
Yeah.
They're terribly inaccurate.
Yeah, because to be 30 days late, what that means is your due date, let's say, is the 1st. Well, you have to be a full 30 days late to the next month. So not have paid until the 2nd of the next month. So before they can report that, that whole 30 days has to pass. So when I'm seeing late payments this month, there's something that's not accurate there. Yes, sir.
How high is the high credit rating and how low is the low credit rating before they don't give you any?
So the scoring systems are different again, depending on what you're looking at. The ones that we see for like the new scoring models, we'll see them go up to 900, but usually mortgage is 850 is the highest and 350 is the lowest. If I see people in the 300s, you are really, really trying, people. You're really trying. I have, in 11 years, I have seen it 3 times.
Wow.
I have not seen the lowest beyond that. So if you're in the 300s, we got some conversation coming.
So what's
Yes.
the 300 person like? I mean, what is that? Something going on in their world?
Under a bridge.
They're late on everything. There is nothing positive. There's nothing positive on their credit. Yes, sir.
Or I'm just curious, significant difference between 760 and 840?
Nope.
For our mortgage?
When you're over 720, how much of a difference would it be for 720 to 760?
Well, lately, it's been quite a difference.
Is there?
Depending on the down payment percentage and equity and things like that. But typically, there's not much.
Okay. I know, I mean, I haven't applied for a mortgage in quite a while. So the last time I applied for a mortgage 7 years ago, the guy said, you know, if you're over 720, it's just bragging rights.
Yeah.
Well, things have changed and things usually change, but it just depends on the time and the loan and like Jean said, the down payment. Anybody else have questions? Yes, ma'am.
Wondering exactly what is it your company does?
We do credit restoration. So for people who need help with their credit, they have late payments, collections, they have errors on their credit, identity theft, that's what we help with. We help clean it up and educate because a lot of people don't understand credit. Is that my note?
That's your book.
That's my cue.
Good people from Playhouse meeting.
That's adorable. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, so next week, we have this guy, or maybe that guy. You're not gonna wanna miss that. All right, everybody rise. You know, on that note, Tom, maybe you should do the 4-way test for us.
There you
go. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks.